I was reading a World Bank article on this, and I think the title was that transport is not gender neutral. There are different needs, there are different patterns, and it's just not as safe or as accessible for men, women, all genders. So could you elaborate on what that means exactly? What are the challenges when it comes to providing safe and accessible transport for women?
So I think if we, I'd like to start by saying that traditionally the transport sector has designed both the hardware, that is vehicles and other things, as well as the planning of transport for an able-bodied heterosexual male, right? So the entire way that transport has been planned, so you have something what is known as the rush hour. So we are expecting that people leave in the morning, come back in the evening, and they're able to, for example, maybe reach a bus stop or a metro station. They're able to be out the entire day at a workplace and come back. Who are we excluding in all this? We are excluding women for sure. We're excluding people who are not fully able-bodied. We are excluding people who are older. We are excluding young people. So there's a range of people who are not the user, as we call when you do transport planning. Of course, that is changing, and I think the pressure from the fact that different groups have been excluded is pushing the sector to change. So whether it's the rush hour, which clearly is clearly made for men. I mean, only men move in that way because you're presuming that there's somebody else who's doing all the care work in the house, that you can be out from morning to night. Secondly, even the design of vehicles. So, in a metro or a bus, for women, actually, when we go and we try and hold that thing at the top of the bus, it is actually just a little bit higher and not as comfortable. So it's actually designed for an average height male. Similarly with airbags, they're designed for a certain body type. So I think the bias towards the user of transport is a very deep bias. And therefore, a lot of steps need to be taken to actually address that. Of course, there are many, today there's research showing that women especially use the city differently. For example, and to say that when you say transport and mobility are not gender neutral, what is it that's different? One is women tend to travel not only in peak hours, but often in non-peak hours as well. Number two, women tend to use less private vehicles. So in a family, if there is one vehicle, whether it's a car, whether it's a motorcycle, whether it's a scooter, it will be used by the man. So women will use less private vehicles. And number three, women, because they are primarily the bearers of the work of care in any society, not just in India, but globally, they have to do a lot more activities during the day. And so therefore, they use a very common word today, which is trip chaining. So they go from place A to place B. They may leave in the morning, drop their child at school, then go to work. On the way back in the afternoon, pick up their child, go to the supermarket, pick up something in the evening, take an elderly family member to the park, to the doctor. So the work of care entails a lot more activity during the day. So these three broad areas of non-peak travel, less private vehicles, and trip chaining are quite defining of the way that women access the city.